Hey, welcome. Have you ever stopped to think about why you might be super outgoing and funny with your college friends, but kind of quiet and serious with your work colleagues? It's because we're all playing by these invisible rules, these forces that change how we act the second we're in a group. Today, we're going to pull back the curtain on the psychology behind it all.
And it all starts with this one big question. Why do our personalities seem to just shift? To figure that out, we've got to go right back to the very beginning, to the most basic human stuff.
And the beginning is really understanding our fundamental need to be in groups. At our core, we're just social animals. We can't really thrive or even exist in total isolation. So what's the big deal? What do we actually get out of being part of a team or a club or even just our family?
Think about it. The second you show up in the world, you're not on your own. Nope. You are immediately part of your very first and probably most important group, your family. This is ground zero. It's where we learn the ropes of social life and start to figure out who we are.
And it turns out these groups aren't just a nice little bonus in life. They are absolutely essential. They fill these really deep needs we all have. Things like security, our very sense of identity, and that powerful feeling of belonging. Oh, and they also give us status. And this is a big one. They help us do things we could never, ever do by ourselves.
Okay, so once we're in a group, something really fascinating starts to happen. We just start following its unwritten rules. It's like this secret code that tells us how to act, how to talk, how to fit in. And let me tell you, it is one of the most powerful forces out there.
And there's a word for this, of course. It's conformity. It's that little nudge, that subtle pressure we feel to line up our behavior with whatever the group's doing. Like laughing at a joke you didn't quite get just because everyone else is cracking up. We all do it, probably more than we even realize.
But let's be real for a second. Conformity gets a pretty bad rap. It's not always about just blindly following the herd. Sometimes a group can genuinely convince us of something. Let's say your friends persuade you that a morning walk is actually good for you, and you try it, and you actually believe it and keep doing it. Well, that's called acceptance. It's a real, positive change.
But, and this is a big but, there is a dark side. It's called groupthink. This is what happens when everyone in a group wants to keep the peace so badly that they stop thinking critically. When a super tight-knit team shuts out anyone who disagrees, they can make some truly terrible decisions, all because nobody wants to be the one to rock the boat.
And this pressure to just go along with the group can lead to one of the most powerful dynamics of all, the way we draw a line in the sand and create this idea of an us and of them.
It's totally natural. It's a mental shortcut our brains take. To make sense of the world, we automatically sort people into boxes. The group we belong to, that's our in-group. That's our team. That's us. And pretty much everyone else, they fall into the out-group. They become them.
And this little mental shortcut has some pretty huge consequences. For our own group, the us, we tend to be pretty positive. We see everyone as a unique individual. But for the out-group, that's where prejudice can creep in. We start seeing them as all the same, and we blow our differences way out of proportion. This simple sorting mechanism can be the spark for some really serious conflicts.
Okay, so we know groups can totally change how we think. But what about how we act, how we perform? Does being around other people make us work harder, or does it give us the perfect excuse to just kind of slack off? Well, the answer is, yep, you guessed it, both.
So, on one side of the coin, you have something called social facilitation. This is when just having other people around gets you pumped up and actually makes you perform better. Think about cyclists who race way faster against each other than they do against a stopwatch. But then, there's the other side, social loafing. This is that classic tendency to put in less effort when you're all working on one big thing and nobody's really tracking your individual contribution. And this quote just nails it. Think about a game of tug of war. The people right at the front, they're pulling for their lives, right? But the people way at the back, their effort isn't as obvious. So maybe they're just kind of holding on. That right there is social loafing in a nutshell.
So here's the million-dollar question. How do we stop this from happening? How do we beat social loafing? Well, the key, it turns out, is having a shared, compelling goal. When the task itself is actually interesting and everyone really believes in the group's mission, people are way less likely to slack off. Everybody wants to pull their own weight.
Which brings us right to the final piece of this whole puzzle. Who is the person that sets that goal? Who inspires the group to get there? Yep, we're talking about the leader. What is it that lets someone step up and actually guide what everyone else does?
When you boil it all down, leadership is really just about one thing: influence. It's the ability to get other people motivated and moving towards a shared goal. A great leader doesn't just bark orders, they actually change the behavior, the attitude, and in the end, the performance of the entire group.
So what does it take to be that person? Well, there's no single magic recipe, but you see some common themes. Effective leaders tend to be fantastic communicators. They're visionaries who can actually plan out the steps to get there. They're trustworthy, they take responsibility when things go wrong, and they have this amazing ability to understand the situation and what their followers are capable of.
So that old idea that leaders are just born that way, we know now it's just not the whole story. Great leaders are a mix of things. They're shaped by who they are, sure, but also by what they do, and by the exact moments in time that demand someone step up to the plate.
So we've seen that groups are this fundamental part of who we are. They operate by these secret rules that can bring out our absolute best, and sometimes our worst. They're powerful, no doubt about it. So as you go through your day, start noticing the groups you're a part of. And now that you know the invisible rules, what are you going to build with them?